Hey guys, what's up? This is JRP77 from JGN Games, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make BB-8. So last night I saw Star Wars 7, and I realized there's no way I can end without doing something Star Wars-y. I mean, Star Wars just came out today. I really encourage you guys to go see it. It's very good. 10 seconds with no spoilers. Words can't even describe how amazing it is. 11 out of 10. But I figured, why not make something from the movie, because I've seen a bunch of people in the Blender community making something, so I might as well show you guys how to make something. So we're going to be making BB-8. Now, if you don't know what BB-8 is, he's a ball droid, and he's kind of like the R2-D2 of the new movie. So we're going to be using this reference image I found off Best Buy for that Sphero toy, but because it's so accurate about how BB-8 works, we're just going to use this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to open up Blender. Now I've updated to 2.76, so some of the things you might see are a bit different, but as you can see, I still have my standard thing. I also got a mouse, so I'm not going to be using select with right click, but I will be using the right click. Alright, so first of all, let's get rid of the lamp. Actually, I am going to have to go, because I just got this version, command comma, go to input, select with left, and make sure emulate numpad is on. Save emulate numpad. If you don't know what that is, that's basically where you can use the number keys to use the viewport settings, like the custom viewports. That's what it's used for. Normally it was used for layers, but I find it much more effective to use it for the viewports, especially if you're on a laptop. So I'm going to click Save User Settings, go back. I'm going to select the lamp and delete it by hitting X. I don't have my keycast working, so I'll try to say what I'm doing, but I don't know. I'm also going to delete this cube. And all we have to do is hit Shift A, Mesh, Sphere. You can also go up to the Add tab down here, Mesh, Sphere. Alright, and because I had my cursor like that, I am going to go on this tab right here and move it to 0, 0, 0. Right, like that. And now I need to position the cursor, so I'm going to right click so I can reset my cursor. And I'm going to hit 1, and I'm going to right click on the center. I'm going to hit 3, and I'm going to right click on the center. It's a bit time consuming, but you get the hang of it. I'm pretty sure, set origin, origin to center of mass. No, that didn't work. I don't remember how to get the origin like that, so just leave the origin like that point right there. Alright, so now let's hit 0 so we can get scale-wise what we want to do. Let's do about like that. And we'll move it along to about right there. Now BB-8 is a very simple shape. If we go to that reference image, you'll see that it's just a sphere with another sphere on top of them. So, but we need to load this image in too, so I'm going to go to background images at the very bottom, check it, add the image, open from desktop, and then you have to hit go into orthographic view, so you can go into that by hitting view, view perspective orthographic, or you can, and then I'm just going to do front. Now because I want to do it by size, I'm just going to do it the same size as it does in the image. And so now we've got half of BB-8 done. So now you'll notice that if I hit Z, he kind of goes up to a point and then it just kind of flattens off. So I'm going to hit Z, so I'm in wireframe mode now. I'm going to hit Tab, I'm going to go into Face Select. I'm going to hit A and back into Z, and I'm just going to hold Control, and I'm just going to select everything around here. Now I'm going to go back into our viewport, and I'm just going to move it down like so. Now see that it still has a point, so I'm going to go into Vertice Select, select the top vertice, and flatten it out with the rest. Okay, that looks good. Now let's add BB-8's head. So I'm going to hit Shift A, UV Sphere, and I'm just going to make it the rough shape of his head. You can see he's a very simple object, but through the simplicity, he looks like a robot. And now I'm going to hit Z so I can get an idea of where to cut him off. I'm going to hit Z, I'm going to hit B, and I'm going to drag this right down here, and I'm just going to hit X, delete faces. So that's basically the basic shape of BB-8. You can see that I've got one thing. It's because I moved my cursor. So I'm just going to try to eyeball it. Like so. You know what I could always do? I could always just zero this out, and that's what I'm going to do. And that just zeroed up my 3D cursor. Wow. That's how you do it. Go to transform all the way at the top and zero that out. And I'm not going to mess with the rotation. I'm gonna hit 1, move it up, and to the left. All right, and then I got to go into 3, my side view, do that. And that should be fine. It is. So now you can see that, if I zoom in, you can see that his head tapers at the very end. So we're going to do that. I'm going to hit Tab. I'm going to hit B so I can select this bottom row of vertices easily. And I'm just going to move this up, scale it down to where it fits with the taper. Like so. And now you can see that he's got this little thing right here where it comes down. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it like this. Also, you'll see his head's a bit big, so I'm just going to scale his head down, move it across, and then move it down. Alright, so that's basically all there is to the basic shape of BB-8, but if you're going to render this, there's one thing you got to do, and that is fill this bottom face, or else he looks hollow. So I'm going to hit Tab to enter edit mode, make sure I've got this ring selected right here, and I'm going to hit F to fill that face. And so now, if you ever have an undershot of BB-8, you can always see that he is. If I go into rendered mode, you can't see anything because there's no lamp, but you get the idea. So now let's start adding a few details. BB-8 has some cool things. He's got this eye right here, and if you go to these images on the internet, you can see it's kind of out. Well, we're going to use a tool called the Boolean modifier, and this is my all-time most used modifier along with the array modifier. I use this all the time because it's a very simple way to get these really good details. 8 minutes in. This is going to be pretty long. I'm going to hit Shift A, and add a UV sphere, and I accidentally grabbed the wrong sphere. I'm going to move it up to the left, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball the shape of his eye. I'm going to hit 3, and I'm going to move it out like that. So this is fine with itself, but it adds vertices. And we don't want to add vertices. We want to keep his head as one object. So I'm just going to scroll over to my modifiers while I'm selecting this base object right here. And I'm going to go to Add Modifier, Boolean. Now I'm going to click on this new color picker, this object picker tool, which is really cool. It's in 2.76, and I'm just going to select that eye. But if you did it a different way, you could just go and select the other sphere. There it is. So now you'll see it's kind of invisible. So I'm just going to go to, is it union? Yes, it's union. So you want to select union. And now I'm going to select this sphere right here, and I'm going to scale it up just a tad. I feel like his eye's about like that size. And now, if I apply this modifier, I should be able, yes, so now I've moved the sphere object we used to make it, and now you'll see we've got vertices on his head. Alright, so I'm just going to delete that sphere. Actually, I'm going to keep that because I'm going to use it for something else. Alright, so now let's make this little detail right here. I'm going to go down and just do the same thing. Scale it down to about the size of that. And I'm going to hit 3. And I'm going to move this, because that bump is smaller, to about right there. Click on this, Add Modifier, Boolean, Union. Click on this color picker thing. Apply it. And now you'll see that BB-8 now has acne. That was a horrible joke. You can see that I think that's too far out, so I'm just going to take off the Boolean real quick, because it's almost like a slight bump. So we hit 3, and I'm going to make it more of a slight bump. It's a lot of playing around with. That looks good. Now I'm going to select the sphere, apply it, and now we can move this. Alrighty. So what else do we want to add? Well, I want to do the antennas because the antennas are really cool and they're kind of like every droid in Star Wars has an antenna at some point. So let's go ahead and add these antennas. I'm going to create a cylinder, and to save vertices, rather than using the array tool, I'm just going to just go ahead and model it. So I'm going to move up. If you hold down Control and you scroll the mouse wheel, it allows you to pan left and right. And if you hold Shift, it allows you to go up and down. And then if you just do it normally, it allows you to zoom in. So that's what I'm using because I'm actually not using my trackpad right now. All right, so I'm going to scale this down to pretty small. I think I'm going to do 0.1, 0.05, 0.05. 0.05, like that. I'm scaling the Z. I'm just gonna move that up to about like that. I'm gonna place it about the middle. Make sure you scale in the Z so we keep that thickness. And now I'm gonna zoom in all the way. I'm gonna hit Tab. I'm gonna hit B. Hit Z, then B. So I'm in wireframe mode. And I'm going to hit extrude, and I'm not going to move it, and then I'm going to scale it to like this, about that. I'm going to move it up, and then I'm going to extrude, scale down, extrude, scale down, extrude, scale down, so it tapers at the end. And you can see that something messed up in my wireframe mode. That is in fact geometry up there. Okay, so now let's add the second one. This one's not too hard. I'm just going to add another cylinder and find it. Scale it down to 0.005. I think that's what we said. You can't see it, but that's because there's that little selected dot right there. I'm going to move it down to about right there. And I'm just going to start scaling on the Z axis. About like that. And that looks good. So now we just got to position these antennas, and I'm going to parent these together by selecting both of them, hitting Command P, Object, Keep Transform, and then I'm going to hit 7, and I'm going to position these right on top of his head. So now when you move this one, it moves that one, but you can always move, scale, so. Alright, so that's basically BB-8 modeling. Let's just set up a basic render form. I'm not going to do textures in this one, just because that would take forever, but you can easily see how you could do that. You could pull that off. And since it's BB-8, I'm just going to set up a quick rig. I'm just going to make a plane. I'm going to scale it up. 0, that should be good. Now I'm going to go to my transform, and if you scroll all the way down, you can see lock camera to view. That allows you to pan around the scene. Now because rotating is a bit weird, I'm just going to use my trackpad, and I'm going to rotate him like so. Alrighty, I'm going to zoom in just a tad, and now back in my mouse, I'm going to click lock camera to view, and now you see I'm actually rotating with my mouse pad, but I don't like rotating with my mouse pad. I'm going to scale this plane up, and now I'm going to create Shift A, and I'm just going to start adding, I'm going to make a basic material in cycles so we get those accurate shadows. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply that to everything. Zoom in, click on the antenna. And now you can see that we got ourselves a little BB-8. But because his eye is black, we're going to hit Z, and then I'm going to click on his head. I'm going to select his eye and deselect this ring. Whoops. Tab out. This thing's so annoying. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to create a new material. I'm going to make it a mix shader, not ambient occlusion, a mix shader. And I'm going to make it between a diffuse and a glossy. Now, I'm going to keep that like that, but I'm just going to make this pure black. See where that gets us. Nowhere, because I haven't assigned it yet. Then I'm just going to click assign. And now you'll see you've got that. We want it to be more glossy than not glossy. So I'm just going to... That's full glossy. That's full diffuse. Make it about 7. I'm going to make this also like a gray almost. So now let's go some lighting. I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to add a plane. Actually, I'm going to hit Command Z and get rid of that plane because I was in edit mode. Hit Shift A, add a plane, rotate it on the X 90 degrees. No, 90 degrees. 0 to make sure it's off camera. Hit Scale X and do like this, and I'll scale the Z to give it a box. Now I'm going to go to this material, add a new one, give this a emission, make it 5, and hit Shift C and see how that looks. Oh, that looks awesome. But you can see it's kind of fades off, so let's add a few more. I'm going to hit Shift D so we can just keep this material. I'm going to rotate this on the Z axis 90 degrees, and I'm going to select this one and move it over here. And kind of position it on the side of BB-8. I'm going to make it longer. And I'm also going to make it thinner. All right. And now I'm going to hit this plus button right here. And I'm going to set this to 2.5. So that gives us a nice render right there. Let's go ahead and smooth everything. So I'm going to click on this object right here. Smooth. Click on this object right here, smooth. And that already smooths that. Shift C to get out of edit that. And I'm just going to smooth these. You know what, now that I think about it, I want these thicker. So I'm going to scale these on the Y2. Let's go on the X2 as well. That makes them a little bit more visible. Let's try one more time. Scale Y2, scale X2. I feel like that's too far apart, so I'm going to click this. Whoops, should see. I'm going to scale the, oh, I have this on. Whoops. Scale it down just a tad. Scale it up on the Z. And hit 7. Position this roughly on the top of his head. And that looks good. I want those wires to be a different color slightly. So I'm going to create a new material. I'm going to give this a diffuse, just normal. Actually, let's give it a glossy. Let's make it like 0.2 on the roughness. And I just give this the last one we made. I hit 0, Shift Z. And they are black, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And that looks good. I feel like this is too black. I'm going to click on this material. And I'm going to make it a bit rough. It's too shiny. Nope, wrong roughness value. 0.5 on the roughness. You don't want it to be too glossy or else it doesn't look realistic. Let's see 0.3. 0.3 look the best. Alright, now it's render. I'm going to go to my render settings. I'm going to go to sampling. And I'm going to set the samples to 100. And then that should be it. So I'm going to render this out. And after it's done, we'll come back. Alright, so I felt like 100 wasn't enough. So I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 300. 500 actually. I like even numbers. And I'm going to render again. Alright, so the render has completed, and honestly, it looks pretty good. I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and save this render. You can see if we zoom in, you get in to a few vertex issues. But I'm just going to go to Image, Save as Image, put it on my desktop as render.png, save as image, and now I'm just going to go over to this desktop tab. And now I can see this is what we were trying to accomplish. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. This is what we were trying to accomplish, and that's what we did. And that turned out really well. You can see the eyes are a bit more glossy, but I just decided to do the matte finish. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see some of our previous tutorials, don't forget to check out our channel. If you'd like to see how to make an ornament, which is kind of similar to this, but kind of not, there will be a link in the description, and you can just go to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Google+. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.